$1.19. Silver is trading at $17.08 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,288 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,558. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon has reported that they have killed dozens of people in attacks on a pair of training camps in Yemen's Al-Ubaida province. Officials say drones were involved in the attacks but did not specify if it was exclusively drone strikes. The Pentagon statements accused the Islamic State of running the training camp, saying they were training militants to use AK-47s and offering endurance training. There's no evidence who was killed, though the Pentagon naturally extended the Islamic State claim to say everyone killed was also a member of the Islamic State. The Pentagon said they believe the Islamic State is using ungoverned space in Yemen to plot attacks. Such a statement is commonly part of such attacks in countries the U.S. is not at war in, as a way of offering some legal justification for the strikes. But since the U.S. government never identifies its victims beyond assuming them all to be part of the targeted faction, and no one else in countries like Yemen are ever able to make such determinations either, everyone slain remains unidentified and civilian deaths go unreported. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday agreed to hear a privacy case pitting the U.S. government against Microsoft. The 9-member court agreed to take up the case next year whether Microsoft can be required to turn over emails at more than 100 data centers in 40 countries outside the United States. The case involves content of an MSN.com account the government said was used to conduct drug trafficking in 2013. The data was stored in Dublin, Ireland. Microsoft only turned over information they had stored in the United States and went to court. In 2014, U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska said the company had to hand over the emails, but last year the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in New York ruled in Microsoft's favor. The U.S. government was joined by 33 states in seeking Supreme Court review. At issue is the location of the search, at Redmond, Washington, where employees can call up the data, or where the content is stored. The company argues federal law does not extend to overseas seizure of data. Brad Smith, CEO of Microsoft and chief legal officer, wrote in a blog post that the current laws were written for the era of the floppy disk, not the world of the cloud, adding, "We believe that rather than arguing over an old law in court approved in 1986, it's time for Congress to act by passing new legislation." Smith said there were broader dimensions to the issue, adding, "If U.S. law enforcement can obtain the email of foreigners outside the United States, what's to stop the government of another country from getting your emails even though they are located in the United States? We believe that people's privacy rights should be protected by the laws of their own countries, and we believe that information stored in the cloud should have the same protection as paper stored in your desk." In its request for Supreme Court review, the Department of Justice said a ruling for Microsoft would cause immediate, grave, and ongoing harm to public safety, national security, and the enforcement of our laws. Mark Rush, a computer security expert and former DOJ prosecutor, told NBC News that users outside the United States would be discouraged from using American internet companies. He said this is a very big case that raises the largely unresolved issue of where things occur when they happen in cyberspace. We have a real world that has borders and national interest, and a virtual world that does not respect them. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. A new crispy snack cracker will ease the crushing pain of modern life. The dull, all-consuming ache of present-day existence will be slightly alleviated when Nabisco's breakthrough TC McCrispy's line of crackers arrives today. Available in regular, Garden Ranch, and Zesty Cheddar, the new crackers will flood consumers' bodies with fat, salt, and starch to produce a pleasing sensation of warmth and nourishment, momentarily freeing them from a relentless, crushing sense of profound grief. Mel Krychek is Nabisco's Director of Corporate Communications.
Our tasty new snack cracker will, if only for a few lovely moments, significantly lessen the hideously bleak and empty torment of modern life that festers in every solitary soul.
Nabisco expects most despair-riddled consumers to eat an entire box in one sitting. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're free to join us here toll free. Bring up anything you want. Our number's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype into the show. Skype username here is LRN.FM. We got some Florida news to start things out here tonight. Actually, there's a couple interesting stories, more than a few interesting stories coming out of Florida. Johnson will be joining us here shortly. It's Ian.
And Vincent.
So toll-free number again, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Looks like the alt-right / white nationalist / maybe communist or something like that, Richard Spencer, is once again in the news. Now, longtime listeners of the show may recall this guy made headlines sort of within the libertarian community. He's not a libertarian, but he came and crashed a libertarian event in D.C., I think it was. I don't know if it was Students for Liberty. Was it Students for Liberty?
It was some student group.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. Yeah, whatever. It was one of those Liberty student groups, and he didn't have a speaking event there, but he said that he was going to go and go to the hotel bar and then meet with however many teenage boys were his fan club or whatever. Anyway, so this is one of the alt-right people that's kind of been stirring up a lot of the controversy around the United States. And according to the story over at USA Today, Governor Rick Scott has now declared a state of emergency as hundreds of law enforcement officers from across the state gather at the University of Florida in advance of a Thursday event by this guy. They're literally declaring a state of emergency over some hate monger who's going to come speak at the University of Florida in Gainesville. I mean, that to me, and Johnson joining us now here. Welcome.
Another hate monger. Oh, wait.
No. I not like Richard Spencer. You're not a hateful guy. You might be a little angry at times, Johnson, but I don't really even see that very much from you these days. You seem to be kind of mellowed out a little bit. Must have been the brush with death.
The brush with death, I guess. Okay.
I don't know. You got sick. You're doing better now. Thank goodness. We're glad to have you back. But Richard Spencer, I've never seen the guy speak. I imagine, Vincent, you might have. You seem kind of familiar with some of the alt-right.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying you kind of came from the alt-right before you came on Free Talk Live. You probably know a thing or two about this guy. Didn't you mention him earlier to me today? Something about communism?
Yeah, white communism.
Tell me about that. What is that?
Well, it's exactly as regular communism, except it's white nationalists who run it.
So only white people communism.
Exactly, yeah.
From each white person according to his ability to each white person according to his need. Is that sort of the modification?
I didn't really look into it. Just some stupid thing I saw on gab.ai.
Well, right. I mean, these people are stupid as far as they don't look at people as individuals. They look at people as groups. Their messages are terrible, but I'm sorry, I don't think that whatever it is that Richard Spencer is going to do or say at the University of Florida is worth a state of emergency and hundreds of law enforcement officers responding.
So who's declaring the state of emergency?
The governor of the state of Florida.
Oh, wow.
Rick
the whole
Scott.
state of Florida.
I don't know if that includes
Hurricane Spencer is flying through.
Right. I don't know if this includes the entire state. Is that how states of emergency work? Is if the governor declares a state of emergency, it's for the whole state?
I don't know. I guess for the area. I mean, who knows? It's
I don't know either.
There's going to be troops
martial law.
Troops from Jacksonville to Miami making a wall.
Alachua County Sheriff Sadie Darnell has asked Scott to declare the emergency as the university prepares for Spencer's visit. The governor's executive order places the state agency usually responsible for hurricanes at the front of the effort to preserve order during the event. It also places the Florida National Guard on standby. Anti-fascist groups known as Antifa plan to protest the white nationalist event.
You think?
Both sides have talked on social media about using violence.
I'm sure they have.
Scott wrote in an executive order he signed Monday, quote, "I find that the threat of a potential emergency is imminent and hereby declare a state of emergency," okay, in Alachua County. So they can specify
the whole county.
Darnell's agency is equipped and trained as a specialized regional task force for the Federal Department of Homeland Security. But uncertainty over the groups that may show up led her to request as many resources as possible. She said that, quote, "Whatever was needed was the ability to reach out to some specialty teams. We've never been able to predict the unknown, and we just don't know what to expect," unquote. Spencer said the emergency declaration was overkill and is a maneuver that should be reserved for a hurricane or an invasion. He worried Scott's order was meant to eventually cancel his event. Spencer said that, quote, "If someone's coming to speak, I feel like declaring a state of emergency is out of bounds. I feel like this may be an excuse to cancel the event, but I simply don't know. There's no good reason why the speech shouldn't take place." And there's more here about the insane level of security that the university is actually going to be on the hook for. For providing this particular event. We'll get into that coming up here in a moment. But, I don't agree, I'm sure, with most of what Richard Spencer has to say, considering, he's a white nationalist, and that's despicable, and apparently also a communist. But I do agree that he's right. This is ridiculous. I mean, the idea of a state of emergency over somebody's speech, that really is a statement of where we're at today.
I mean, my general thought is if you're any kind of a nationalist, you're despicable.
Absolutely.
You display one of those flags out in front of your property.
Yeah, whatever kind of nationalist that you are.
Whatever kind of whatever nation's flags, doesn't matter.
Absolutely, and that's the much larger message, and I'm glad you went there, because getting rid of the idea of nation states would be something I think a lot of us here on Free Talk Live would like to see.
Yeah.
The idea, of course, is that because you were born on some arbitrary, geographic boundary,
you don't like it, you should leave. They fought and died for your right to say these things on the air, and therefore you should just go die in a hole because I don't like what you have to say. But I don't like them Antifa either because, they're just trying to do. I don't like them because they're controlling speech. But you should just not talk. It's like
that's what it's come to.
It's just insanity at this point. No one has any clue what's going. This is why you were saying something about me having mellowed out, and it's just because it's like I feel like I've just given up. There's no sanity.
It's gone so insane.
There's no corner of sanity anywhere anymore. It's just
you just watch it happen. You watch it happen.
Much.
Like a train wreck.
Like I don't know, where there's refuge for any sort of sanity. It doesn't exist.
I would want to
flat.
If I were in Gainesville, I would want to be there with a video camera just to see what happens. In the same way that I was out at the Pumpkin Festival here in 2014 in Keene, which went insane, where there were actually riots over college kids being thrown out of parties over pumpkins. And apparently Pumpkin Fest is coming back this year within, the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I think that Mark and I are going to be at the Texas Bitcoin Conference during that particular weekend. So I won't actually be here to see that happen.
But you'll be blamed for the riots anyway, for some reason.
Right, of course.
Well, you don't have to worry, Ian. I'll cover it for the both of you.
All right, right on, man. It takes some, a little bit of huevos to go down there and, face down whatever the police are going to be thrown around, because they're, if they shoot some pepper balls at you, they. Do
you think they'll have snipers on hand this year?
I don't know. That's something that happened on previous years up on the rooftops in downtown Keene. They did have at least a couple of snipers from, we believe, the federal government, or at the very least the state police. up there. So anyway,
I wonder if they'll just have the police snipers up there this year with T-shirts that say "I love Las Vegas" or something like that.
Oh, God.
Probably get Blackwater security there. We're going no holds barred. Like we're getting constant
their
email.
name? Are they Z? Didn't they change from Blackwater to Z, and then they changed it again or something like that?
Yeah.
XE is what they changed their name. This was years ago. This was like, most of the decade ago. I think they did that. So anyway, wow. Snipers rifles for little town pumpkin festivals, one thing, but hundreds of police to come into the University of Florida, where, according to university officials, the price tag for security at this event for this white nationalist scumbag lowlife who's going to be speaking at the University of Florida. Go ahead. Have you seen the headlines? Can you take a crack? How much are they going to spend on security?
$1 million.
Million.
All right, we'll come back here with the number 855-450 free like freedom. You can join us here on Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.LRN.FM. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.LRN.FM. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.LRN.FM.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and of course you can join us on the radio waves. You can talk about whatever's on your mind. Comment on this Richard Spencer character who, once again, is in the news. I mean, I don't know what this guy has to say that people find so dangerous. It's not like the ideas of the white supremacists hold any water or any sense or intelligence whatsoever. It's just hate. And hate's been around for a long time. Racism has been around for a long time. This isn't the first time that, racists have done things publicly. There have been KKK rallies many decades ago that certainly some level of security was probably it made sense for. I mean, I can understand. Like if there's expected to be a violent conflict, I can understand why somebody would say, well, we should have some kind of security force there to keep the peace. And if that were actually what's, the police, if that were actually their goal, then that would be good. I don't know if I'm convinced that that's actually the goal of the police, though. I mean, we have had Christopher Cantwell, who himself is a white nationalist, although more of a not communist. I don't want to call him liberty-leaning. He's more of like a fascist these days.
He calls himself a libertarian fascist.
He still calls himself libertarian, and he certainly is.
No, a libertarian fascist.
Right, but he's using the term
There's a
libertarian.
hyphen there.
He's still using the term libertarian because he does, to some extent, he understands to quite an extent. He was very well researched when he was a libertarian. But, man, I mean, it's just frustrating to see this huge turnout of police. They're talking about hundreds of cops. A state of emergency has been declared in Florida for Alachua County, where the University of Florida is going to be hosting this Richard Spencer guy for a speech on Thursday. If you want to join us here, you can comment. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. It's a great place to go, not just to learn about Bitcoin, because it is the most important decentralized cryptocurrency in the world, the most successful, the first one. So you can go there and learn more about it. You can also get into the mining aspect of it by going to pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. It's super easy to use the website. There's a handy calculator there that'll help you understand what you could make based on what you put into it, as Mark and I are both doing over at pool.bitcoin.com. So check it out, pool.bitcoin.com. So Richard Spencer is going to be speaking on Thursday, and according to the police, they said they needed help. They called in the governor, who then declared a state of emergency for Thursday, or maybe it's happening right now. I'm not sure if it's specified for a particular day or sort of like until further notice. But the expectation is, like in Charlottesville, Virginia, several weeks ago, where there was a clash between the white supremacists and the Antifa, the anti-fascists. They are expecting a similar clash this time around. Spencer is saying that he thinks it's ridiculous, and I don't agree with probably a lot of what he might have to say, but that much I do agree with. This definitely seems like an overreach. It definitely seems like an unnecessary level of police state violence or potential violence for just what is supposed to be freedom of speech. Scott, the governor, wrote in a statement, this according to USA Today, about the declaration that freedom of speech is a right, but the government must also preserve the safety of its citizens. Quote, "We live in a country where everyone has the right to voice their opinion. However, we have zero tolerance for violence." Well, except by the government, because they do violence all the time. "And public safety is always our number one priority. This executive order is an additional step to ensure the University of Florida and the entire community is prepared so everyone can stay safe." Spencer said he expects the 800-seat center to be full. So I don't know what center that is, but it sounds like he's actually got a real kind of location. He's not just going to be showing up on the quad and speaking to whoever happens to be within earshot. Somebody has reserved a major speaking venue on the campus. The head cop of the area, head sheriff Darnell, said she didn't have a crowd estimate for people who will be filling the parking lots around what's called the Phillips Center. University officials said the price tag, now you guys guessed $1 million and $2 million.
He was $2 million, I was $1 million.
The price tag for security at Spencer's event will be $500,000.
I was closer,
And apparently Spencer is going to be...
lost the prices right.
Still, though, it's a lot of money. We're talking about 1 day.
Yeah.
1 day's worth of security forces here. And that's not including...
I'm feeling very insecure. Could you bring my shoes and my glasses?
You got to have your safe space, right? And I imagine that we'll have those set up.
Rope it off.
$10,000, by the way, is what Spencer's paying. So of the $500,000, $10,000 will be footed by Spencer's so-called National Policy Institute. They paid the school $10,000 to rent the Phillips Center for the performing arts.
There's all these scary men in hoods in the masks, and I don't like them. It's very scary, and I need to feel secure.
Now, who are you? Is that an impression of a leftist teacher at the school?
No, there's a character from a comedy routine. Have you ever heard of the Jerky Boys?
Yes. Oh my God, it's been so long.
Yeah.
They're not still together, are they?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Those are some classic prank calls. I mean, the Jerky Boys. What was that? 20 years ago?
Yeah, but there was a character on there. I want to say Saul or something like that was his name. Like
Saul. He was very insecure, and he's like, "Bring me my shoes and my glasses." Could you maybe make me feel more secure? Maybe cuddle me at night or something.
Man, I love some good prank calls. At least 500 law enforcement officers are expected to be on hand. Now,
but I also just like to think of everyone who's like always demanding of security, and that like I'm very weak and small, and I need protection. Maybe you could help me.
At least 500 law enforcement officers expected on hand. Now, does that mean that the school has to pay for the law enforcement officers to come in? In which case, that's like a great example of how these government bureaucracies, which is what most schools are, right? These are state of Florida, University of Florida, state school systems. In what reality would it ever make sense to accept $10,000 to rent a piece of your property and then have to pay $490,000 on top of that in order to pay the security forces? Right. I mean, it's just... That's insane. That's not freedom of speech. You can have your freedom of speech, Richard Spencer, but you have to cover all the security costs, or you can just show up on the quad and, not have... Because even though he has freedom of speech on a public campus, they're not obligated to give him the Phillips Center, right? Even if he comes with $10,000, they could have just been like, well, yeah, I mean, we would like to take your money and everything, but we're sorry, it's going to cost us $490,000 in public security costs. So unless you're going to foot the other $490,000, you can just go ahead and show up on the quad with some of your white nationalist buddies and get your hoods or whatever it is you have and have fun.
Yeah,
because you don't have to pay to rent the quad space. You just go and speak, right? I mean, I've never been to a college. Vincent, you're at a college. Pretty much anybody can go on wherever the public areas are, and they can talk, and that's not prohibited.
Yeah, but then when you get to noise amplification devices, the town prohibits that.
Well, and that's reasonable. I mean, I'm not saying that I agree that the town should prohibit it, but I can understand why the school would prohibit it. You don't want people sitting in a class. Yeah, I understand that, but you don't want people sitting in class having to hear a bunch of malarkey coming through the windows and distracting you from trying to do a presentation or take a test or whatever. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can join us here and share your thoughts on this ridiculousness that's coming up in a couple days in Florida.
Hello, Mr. Anderson. The NSA has noticed how much time you spend on conservative news sites. We have no choice but to consider you a domestic terrorist.
Tired of your internet activity being monitored by Big Brother? Get VirtualShield.com, the world's easiest to use virtual private network. Browse the web anonymously, leaving pesky advertisers and spies in the dust. Get started today at VirtualShield.com. Take advantage of our free 30-day trial. VirtualShield.com. You have the right to remain private.
Chad here, owner of Infidel Body Armor. With the shooting in Vegas, there will be calls to ban guns and body armor. You can expect prices to rise dramatically in the coming weeks as gun grabbers try to outlaw your freedom. If you don't have your armor kit yet, you are behind the curve. Don't miss your window of opportunity. Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com and click on Specials. That's InfidelBodyArmor.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You dialed toll free. Join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Terrible news out of Florida. That is that there's a state of emergency that has been slated, or is happening now, through at the very least the 19th, where that's Thursday, where Richard Spencer, some Nazi scum, is going to be speaking to a crowd of what is expected to be fairly large crowd. Now, whether that crowd will be mostly Nazis or mostly Antifa who've come to have a fight with the Nazis, we have yet to see that. But they are expecting to have at least 500 police in the vicinity, which is a heck of a lot more than ever is in Alachua County, I would suspect, at any given time. Let's go to your calls and thoughts coming up here. Also, do want to let you know about Dash. It is digital cash, and it's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are quick, and they can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. You go to Dash.org and you'll find out why. Let's go to Tom in Pennsylvania, listening online. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Vincent, and Johnson.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Welcome. You're on the air.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
This Spencer guy, I mean, you have a lot more resources than I do. The Spencer guy, they've already tied him into several Hillary events, pro-Hillary events last year, that there are pictures of him at those events.
Are you suggesting that he was there in favor of Hillary, or that he was there protesting Hillary?
I think it's because he's working for the same guy. I think that if you trace back the organization that's funding this thing for him, if you trace that back through several organizations, you're going to find out George Soros is funding it.
Now, this is a new theory. I can't say I have heard this one before. Now, Vincent, you're nodding your head over there. I mean, are you aware of this particular theory that Soros is actually funding the communist white nationalists, the alt-right that is basically the left?
Yeah, I've heard the theory before. I didn't hear anything about Spencer, but specifically Jason Kressler, the guy who organized Charlottesville, used to work for Occupy and I think he campaigned for Obama.
Really?
Right. These guys are all working for the same people. Antifa's working for the same guy.
Well, now, isn't the theory that Soros? Hold on, before you go on, isn't the theory also that Soros, that kind of money, is behind Antifa? So, are you saying that Soros is funding both sides of this fight, and if so, to what end?
Sure, he needs a trigger event, and so he has to create his own trigger. He's creating his own trigger event. Then he's sending these Antifa nuts to go over there and destroy the town.
But why would George Soros want to do that? I mean, this guy's basically an investor, right? Like why would he want to destroy Gainesville? What's the benefit to George Soros?
He's a globalist. He wants the downfall of the United States, and he definitely wants the downfall of Trump. So
I think Trump is
create chaos.
I think Trump is funding Warren Buffett, who's funding David Rockefeller, who funds George Soros, who funds the Koch brothers, to create fake opposition in order to.
I think you're getting a little carried away there.
Well, it's all the money all trickles back up to the Illuminati.
Well,
some people
I know there's a lot of things going on, but all I'm saying is the organizations that are ultimately funding Spencer, if you trace them back, they're going to end up as funded by George Soros. Today, George Soros put $18 billion into one of his organizations to supposedly charitable, but I mean, he just, and he has a son that's going to take over when he dies. So it's just, they want chaos so that global government can take over.
So you think, I mean, this is a pretty long game. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, right? Like what you're saying is a possibility. Is it likely? I don't know. I haven't done that research, and I can't just take your word for it. So I mean, for the sake of argument, we can take your word for it. But yeah, I mean, that's a long game saying that he's hoping that
the life extension technologies. This is a very long game.
No, this is a game that's been going on my whole life. I'm going to be 60 in a couple months. And this started way back when I was a kid in school.
You don't have access to life extension technology. They've been around.
Not yet.
These same people have been around for millennia.
Like vampires.
I'd say it started back in like 1900 with writings of H.G. Wells and Huxley.
What started there?
No, exactly? I'm saying in school. What they did in school, they slowly were taking things away. Okay, when I started in school, we had Washington's birthday and we had George Washington's birthday. Then they changed that, and then it was just President's Day. Yeah, we had two when I started school.
Yeah,
you said Washington's birthday and Washington and what?
And Lincoln's.
Oh, and Lincoln. Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Washington and Lincoln. And then they changed it just to President's Day.
Okay.
And But they slowly started changing what they were teaching us, and they took away history. Now, to the point today that they don't teach any of our American history in schools today.
They don't teach any American history? I mean, that sounds like an exaggeration.
Almost nothing. Our American history they teach in schools goes back 40 years. They don't teach anything about the Revolutionary War.
Vincent, you were just recently in high school, at a government high school. I mean, can you comment on what this guy's saying? Because, I mean, I understand government schools are not anything worth writing home about as far as the educational quality is concerned. But at the very least, I would think they talk a little bit about American history beyond 40 years, right?
Well, they talk about, I think the caller's right, they talk about the parts that further their agenda, like
That's
how,
true.
We need the civil rights era, it was all the government that made things better when it made things worse. Same with the Civil War and everything just to further their, big government agenda.
That much is true. Tom, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I got to say, I hadn't heard that particular conspiracy theory before, that evil financiers like George Soros are ostensibly financing both the Antifa, anti-fascists, and the alt-right, white nationalists, Nazis. I don't know. Do you guys buy that one?
Oh,
I think, like I said, I think David Rockefeller is funding both Soros and the Koch brothers.
Well, he can't do
to
that
have
when
a
he's
fake
dead now.
war of right versus left.
David Rockefeller.
Yes,
Rockefeller
he's
died.
been dead for.
But there are other
Rockefellers. He's still alive in cryogenic stasis. Clearly,
I think
the lizard blood flowing through his brain,
his brain
blood, through his brain and his body.
It's the orphan blood transfusions, actually, but okay.
He's cold-blooded. It's lizard orphans. Clearly.
Orphan blood transfusions?
Well, yeah, but the theory goes that in order to stay alive, like these politicians like Hillary, they'd abduct kids and then take for blood, like the old Pizzagate
that explains
thing.
Pizzagate.
Yeah,
I
but
see. And where all the kids went to after the shooting in Sandy
One
Hook,
Nation
right?
Under Blood, author Taryn Lupo. You can get it today on Amazon.
But I think to your original question, I think it's totally possible because there's so many people who benefit off of conflict and fear mongering and hatred.
I mean, the police state definitely benefits
exactly.
from this.
Yeah, this is just a giant show of force. Like in they all like to go out in their black uniforms and have their armored vehicles on the streets.
Everywhere
to
Richard
intimidate.
Spencer goes, there's a police state apparently that follows him. I mean, that is the scariest part about all this. I don't know who's funding who, but ultimately, what we can really comment on is what we're seeing happen, and we're seeing it's not so much that speech is being criminalized, it's just that all this sort of terrifying police state violent apparatus is being erected around the idea of freedom of speech. It's like, you want your freedom of speech, huh? Well, we're just going to have to shut down all of society in order to make sure that you have what?
And try and normalize the whole police state too, that people, don't question why there's all these men, thugs with guns. They just say, "Oh, it's for our protection.
We need to be safe." Yeah,
like turn them into sheep or cattle,
which is what they've been saying about the TSA.
That's
for
probably
years.
a lot of the reason why they're trying to do all these things at colleges and schools too.
Because the young people are easily impressionable.
Yeah, it's to make it as militarized and to normalize this military occupation.
Well, and they grew up having the cops go through their
metal detectors,
right,
and
metal
fences
detectors,
with razor wire.
drug sniffing dogs go through the campus.
Here at Keene, they had a survey, and most people wanted the government, wanted the police at Pumpkin Fest because they said it'd make them feel safer.
All right, more coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. I think this is a big problem, and you're welcome to comment on this or anything that happens to be on your mind. We'll continue with the insane security preparations for a white nationalist speaking in Gainesville coming up in a couple of days. This is Free Talk Live.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories. While I say these hobgoblins are imaginary, I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158.
We've made significant progress wiring the nation's schools for the internet, but we have to do more. Every child in America should have an internet-capable computer in their bedroom at home, preferably with a high-resolution webcam. I have been to children's chat rooms and have been shocked and disappointed to find they are frequently empty. Even when these youngsters do manage to find their way online, they lack the skills to do something as simple as pinpoint their location on Google Maps. I long for the day when someone can log onto the Nickelodeon Under 13 chat room and type, "Hey, any kids in here like to play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? I have a Nintendo at my house," and be overwhelmed with instant messages. Then I'll know we're doing our job supporting technology in this country.
This is the Onion News Network.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If you're listening to the show later on via podcast and you're using some sort of service like an iTunes or Spotify, something where you can leave a rating for Free Talk Live, and you haven't yet left a rating, please take a moment to do that for us. You can drop in, however many stars out of 5 or whatever it is, and if you can write a short review, that would be even better. So if you want to do us a favor and help us out, that's one way you can do it. We certainly appreciate it, because the more people that rate and review on whatever platform you happen to use, the more maybe new people might be helped to find Free Talk Live. So please rate and review us on whatever platform you happen to be listening through, and we certainly appreciate that. If you're a radio listener, you probably can't rate and review, but you could send a nice comment to the radio station, to the program director, and tell him or her thank you for airing Free Talk Live locally. So that's another way that you can help us out. Speaking of new radio stations, we've got one. In fact, KABQ is now on board with us in Albuquerque. It's actually our second station in Albuquerque, interestingly. So we actually have 2 competing radio stations.
Fans of the traffic reports there.
Picking up... Sarah joke. Picking up the show. And KABQ is actually picking us up for all 3 hours during the week. So welcome aboard. You guys are getting us in what they call in the business delay broadcast. So you're not actually, if you're in Albuquerque listening on KABQ, which is Albuquerque's progressive talk station, you'll be hearing us after the show is mostly done. So you're still welcome to call in. Just remember, we're live from 5 to 8 Mountain Time. Oh, wait, yeah, that's Mountain Time, yeah. So 5 to 8 Mountain Time. So you can call during that time frame, and you can be on the show, and then later you can listen to yourself when the show plays back. So check us out there if you're in Albuquerque at KABQ. And thanks to everybody for listening to and participating in Free Talk Live. It is open phones. If you're new to the show, it's open phones every single night here. So we do have our panel here in the studio, and we talk about stuff. But if you want to join the conversation, whether it be about what we're discussing on the air at the moment or about something completely different,
like the traffic in your area,
please don't call about that, then you can call in. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but hopefully about something that's relevant to
your
everyone
favorite hamburger, right?
listening.
Isn't that the thing we used to say?
We can talk about food. I'm fine with that. That's more interesting because everybody eats, but not everybody's in Albuquerque traffic. So back to the story here. For those of you just tuning in, the University of Florida and the police in the region are preparing for the visit of one Richard Spencer. He is some kind of Nazi, white supremacist character.
I did not see that coming.
I think he was at the wasn't he at the Charlottesville thing?
Yep.
So he was there. He didn't get as much attention as Christopher Cantwell did in that particular instance, but boy, is he sure getting a lot of attention over this. My God, $500,000 is what the school is spending on security. They're expecting to have 500 police. A state of emergency has been declared for Alachua County, and Spencer says he thinks the 800-seat center that they've rented is going to be full on the UF campus. The sheriff in the area said she didn't have a crowd estimate. According to the story at USA Today, Scott's emergency declaration places the State Division of Emergency Management in control of all coordination efforts before and after the event. Safety measures will be headed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Spencer's appearance was made public earlier this month after the university reversed a decision that had canceled a similar event in September. Spencer is a leader of the alt-right, which organized the August rally in Charlottesville that turned deadly. Under threat of lawsuit, UF President Ken, I love this last name, Fuchs, Fuchs, said the First Amendment required the university to allow Spencer's event. He also asked students and staff to ignore it. Quote, "The values of our university are not shared by Mr. Spencer, the National Policy Institute, or his followers," said Fuchs in a video posted to the university president's Facebook page. He said further, quote, "Our campuses are places where people of all races, origins, and religions are welcomed and treated with love," unquote. Unless, of course, you get caught smoking marijuana, in which case they will then love you right out of your college funding. Fuchs later added, quote, "I urge everyone to stay away from the Phillips Center on October 19th, unquote. Now, I know a little bit about college, sort of how you organize things. I've never actually been in anything more than a community college, but having had people like you, Vincent, who have been in the local college here in Keene, New Hampshire over the years, I know that generally you can't really, if you're not a student on the campus, easily reserve like a major venue on a campus. I can't just waltz in and say I want to reserve, one of these places. I don't think.
No, as far as I know, it's not easy unless you have the backing of a club. Say,
right,
like the Republican club wants to bring Milo, then that's much easier, right? The only thing stopping them is the fee.
And in this case, it's a $10,000 fee. So maybe he does have a group on campus that is backing him up here. Similar to a natural disaster like a hurricane, Scott's executive order allows public agencies to bypass laws that govern how they spend money. It also grants authority to any law enforcement officer who comes from outside of Alachua County. So it's just basically open season. I mean, these bureaucrats can completely violate any rule that they had before the state of emergency. So the state of emergency is this big, loophole that you can push a Mack truck through as far as all of the normal protections, whatever there would be on, constitutional rights, are basically just out the window. So on one hand, they masquerade as though they care about freedom of speech, but on the other hand, they completely suspend any kind of rule of law over what they can and can't spend money on, as far as, oh, what's that? There's a white nationalist coming to town. Hey, boys, it's time to rack up the overtime. Because, these law enforcement officers are going to be getting paid overtime to come in, and this isn't part of their normal duties.
Yeah, they're super excited, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And, they might get to crack some heads.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They get paid overtime, and they can hurt the hippies.
Like, we get to practice. We get to bring out all the equipment we normally don't get to use. Let's bring out the tanks, the federally funded tanks, and all the crowd control weapons, maybe some sound devices, maybe
guns.
some
fire
some
hoses.
microwave. We get to cook some people through their skin. The microwave crowd control, the ones that heat people's skin. Although I don't know, those might only be deployed to Iraq currently. But
shoot people in the face with rubber bullets, throw flashbangs right up in baby carriages.
Those are all things that have happened. It's a crazy story, and it's going to be happening this Thursday. So we're less than 2 days away here, and the S could very well hit the fan in Alachua County. If you want to share your thoughts, our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. According to a story at clickorlando.com, it's related. It says that today an orange and blue banner, which are the colors of the University of Florida, that read "Love Not Hate" was draped over a fraternity house on campus. Dozens of Florida Highway Patrol troopers stood across the street from the Phillips Center for the performing arts. So I was wondering, is this state of emergency already in effect? And it sounds like it is already in effect. They already have armed men outside of the Phillips Center, and it's 2 days in advance at this point. Many students said they were worried ahead of the white nationalist event and would be staying away. Thousands of counter-protesters are also planned to arrive on Thursday. A couple of the students said, quote, "I have a class in Turlington where he's speaking, and I know that's where rioters will go. I'm worried about walking there during that time." Obviously, it's a First Amendment right, but when that's going to put the student body in danger and possibly be harmful to us with protests and anger, I just don't think it's a good idea. Now, what he's describing here is the Heckler's veto, as I understand it. Now, I'm not an attorney, but the idea is that, somebody's scared about what might happen. Somebody is afraid of violence, or maybe somebody actually threatens violence, right? So you've got the maybe some on the alt-right and some of the Antifa have said, we're going to fight, we're going to have a fight, we're going to throw down, we're going to get into it. And so somebody can point to that and say, there's going to be violence as a result of this freedom of speech, and so therefore the freedom of speech should be restricted in order to protect all the participants. And that's the idea, is that somebody who's threatening the freedom of speech should not be the reason why freedom of speech is suspended. There should be no reason why freedom of speech is suspended, because otherwise all it takes is for somebody to say they're scared, or for somebody to issue a threat for the cops to come in and say, we've got a threat.
This theater is playing My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Well, I don't think friendship is magic.
Right.
I'm going to bomb that place.
In theory.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And that would be
that's what these people would do. That's what people would do every single instance
where they didn't like it.
This was okay to just attack free speech in that manner. People were going to do stuff like that.
But this is the place where we're at today, where young people especially, and there's a great article at Free Range Kids actually about this, why millennials and younger people are not so into freedom. Like, what created that? There's more coming up here. 855-450-FREE. Your thoughts, your calls are welcome. Plus, we got more crazy Florida news on the way. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Our number 2 is next.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling
telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.08 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,288 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,558. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon has reported that they have killed dozens of people in attacks on a pair of training camps in Yemen's Al-Ubaida province. Officials say drones were involved in the attacks but did not specify if it was exclusively drone strikes. The Pentagon statements accused the Islamic State of running the training camp, saying they were training militants to use AK-47s and offering endurance training. There's no evidence who was killed, though the Pentagon naturally extended the Islamic State claim to say everyone killed was also a member of the Islamic State. The Pentagon said they believe the Islamic State is using ungoverned space in Yemen to plot attacks. Such a statement is commonly part of such attacks in countries the U.S. is not at war in, as a way of offering some legal justification for the strikes. But since the U.S. government never identifies its victims beyond assuming them all to be part of the targeted faction, and no one else in countries like Yemen are ever able to make such determinations either, everyone slain remains unidentified and civilian deaths go unreported. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday agreed to hear a privacy case pitting the U.S. government against Microsoft. The 9-member court agreed to take up the case next year whether Microsoft can be required to turn over emails at more than 100 data centers in 40 countries outside the United States. The case involves content of an MSN.com account the government said was used to conduct drug trafficking in 2013. The data was stored in Dublin, Ireland. Microsoft only turned over information they had stored in the United States and went to court. In 2014, U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska said the company had to hand over the emails, but last year the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in New York ruled in Microsoft's favor. The U.S. government was joined by 33 states in seeking Supreme Court review. At issue is the location of the search, at Redmond, Washington, where employees can call up the data, or where the content is stored. The company argues federal law does not extend to overseas seizure of data. Brad Smith, CEO of Microsoft, Microsoft and chief legal officer, wrote in a blog post that the current laws were written for the era of the floppy disk, not the world of the cloud, adding, "We believe that rather than arguing over an old law in court approved in 1986, it's time for Congress to act by passing new legislation." Smith said there were broader dimensions to the issue, adding, "If U.S. law enforcement can obtain the email of foreigners outside the United States, what's to stop the government of another country from getting your emails even though they are located in the United States? We believe that people's privacy rights should be protected by the laws of their own countries, and we believe that information stored in the cloud should have the same protection as paper stored in your desk." In its request for Supreme Court review, the Department of Justice said a ruling for Microsoft would cause immediate, grave, and ongoing harm to public safety, national security, and the enforcement of our laws. Mark Rush, a computer security expert and former DOJ prosecutor, told NBC News that users outside the United States would be discouraged from using American internet companies. He said this is a very big case that raises the largely unresolved issue of where things occur when they happen in cyberspace. We have a real world that has borders and national interest, and a virtual world that does not respect them. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. Starbucks begins its sinister Phase 2 of operation. This is Doyle Redland reporting. After a decade of aggressive expansion throughout North America and abroad, Starbucks suddenly and unexpectedly closed its 56,423 worldwide locations today to prepare for what insiders call Phase 2 of the company's long-range plan. Cynthia Valcamp, Starbucks head of marketing, made this brief statement at a press conference earlier today.
We have enjoyed furnishing you with coffee-related beverages and are excited about the important role you play in our future plans.
Existing Starbucks franchises across the nation have been shuttered with high-strength titanium, and the well-known Starbucks logo has been slightly altered to present the familiar mermaid figure as a cyclopean mermaid whose all-seeing eye forms the apex of a world-spanning pyramid. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Bring up what you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight as we launch into the second hour of the program, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And it's Johnson.
We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. For those of you just tuning in, the big news out of Orlando, or excuse me, not Orlando, Gainesville. There's other news crazy news out of Orlando that we'll get to here in moments, where the Orange County Public Schools are creating their own police force, apparently. But if they create them sooner rather than later, they're probably going to be called up to the University of Florida, where $500,000 is going to be spent on security, including 500 police officers to prepare for some white nationalist thug who's going to come and speak, Richard Spencer, who normally should just be ignored, but because some people have threatened to have a fight between the Nazis and the Antifa people, sort of like what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, a few weeks or several weeks ago, I guess at this point, month and a half, maybe 2 months, I guess about 2 months ago, they're expecting more violence, and they're using that, of course, as their excuse to ramp up the police state. Let's go to your calls, your thoughts. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Let's go to Live Wire, calling us from New Orleans, listening to WGSO. Hello, Live Wire.
Good evening.
Hey there.
I would like to discuss, in 1967, our current U.S. Senator from Arizona, John McCain, was a lieutenant commander aboard the USS Forrestal which was off the shores of Vietnam at the time in '67, and this was carrier vessel 59. And Lieutenant Commander McCain was the pilot on the plane that began a bad chain of events that caused the death of 134 individuals and additional injuries. It was an hours-long chain of bad events because a missile off of his plane hit another plane at the back on the port side of the back end of the ship, and that there was film footage of this event all day because a Navy photographer was on the island of the ship at the time and captured the whole thing.
Okay.
And I, as a naval recruit many years ago, like all naval recruits since 1967, had to watch this footage because they were stressing what lack of attention to detail causes when somebody gets away with a problem, as he did, because his dad was an admiral in the European fleets at the time, and he also had a grandfather who was also an admiral in the Navy. So he got away with a lot of stuff, and he was the only officer on that ship that got transferred to another ship, and it just doesn't make any sense. John McCain, it's a shame, but apparently he's suffering from the early stages of Alzheimer's or something. He can't think rationally anymore.
Do you have a brain tumor?
Brain cancer.
Brain tumor.
He ought to resign. And maybe some of your friends, your affiliates there in Phoenix, Arizona, maybe somebody's got some sort of contact to talk to him, but he really can't think straight anymore.
Well, I mean, they could argue he couldn't think straight before.
Yeah. He was always an insane warmonger.
Livewire?
Yeah. And I would just like to add another thought on a totally different subject.
Sure.
The NFL boycott is progressing greatly. No purchases of any sponsors of the NFL or of NFL gear. We need to show these people in the NFL that they're overpaid prima donnas, and in fact, maybe they should just go on strike. We'll have replacement players like we did, maybe 20 years ago when they had the replacement program going on.
Now, what is it that you're so upset about with the NFL?
Yes.
No, that was a question.
Wait, I'm sorry.
What is it you're so upset about with the NFL?
Oh, well, they're still... They're not. The point is, they need to quit dictating their politics to people that were formerly fans and spending dollars with their sponsors.
So hold on. Let me see if I'm understanding what you're saying. You're saying they need to quit dictating politics. You're saying the NFL, board of directors or something needs to quit, or
not the board of directors necessarily. The players on the field are trying to tell via their union the NFL owners what to do, and the NFL owners are in this position of not knowing what to do either way. They need to make a solid decision soon, and they just need to simply stand up and say, hey, look, not everything about the American way of the past is perfect. However, the American flag does need to be honored, and it's the right thing to do.
Why?
And why?
Yeah.
Because the reality is the liberty that you celebrate up there in Keene, New Hampshire, is certainly based upon you don't agree with everything that goes on with borders and such like that. But the reality is the American way, capitalism, is a good thing, and it makes the world go round.
What is
So what you're saying is that it's very important that we have these communist Chinese flags flying around the United States, because that's what these red, white, and blue pieces of cloth are, right? They're symbols of freedom by supporting Chinese communism, right?
Well, no, because first of all, I'm not dictating to you, sir, that you need to go buy one today and hang it in front of your house. That's your option. Capitalism has made America what it is in terms of fact that we can go out and purchase a specific product.
But what does that have to do with...
Damn well better clap my hand over my heart if someone starts waving one around, right?
I don't understand what capitalism has to do with your opinion about the NFL. I mean, they're a capitalist company, right? They're trying to make money.
No, they get tons of government money.
Absolutely.
That's true.
And anyone can freely choose to buy their product or to neglect their product. And neglection of they are to be turned away because they are trying to dictate to other people, their former fans, that.
So what I'm concerned with is you keep saying they are trying to dictate. When you say they, You mean players like Colin Kaepernick, or do you mean the entire NFL?
The players like Colin Kaepernick.
And you believe
others.
that, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to understand. So I'm repeating back my understanding of what you've said here. You're saying that these players who are just, trying to quietly express themselves by kneeling down, that the NFL needs to put restrictions on them and say, look, buddy, if you're going to be in the NFL, you need to stand up for the national anthem. You need to wave a flag. You need to join in the nationalist fervor, because you shouldn't be able to express yourself while you work for this organization in this way, is what you're saying, right?
Ultimately, yes. And if I may add a quick analogy, let's just say I work for my local power company here in the city of New Orleans in the state of Louisiana, and I wear the company T-shirt. Well, when I wear that company T-shirt, I can't go out and politicize anything of what I want to do. I simply need to provide power to the people around the area. Likewise, they are paid players of the NFL organization, and they need to get their behinds in gear.
And get along, go with the program. Just act like, you don't have any beliefs of your own. You just need to toe the line.
So next time you're working for the power company, I want to know, if they tell you that you need to salute to the Nazi flag, are you going to do that because you're just doing your job?
Well, they don't tell me to do that on company time.
Yeah, but what if they did?
And if they did, well, I just have to get along and go with it, because you know what?
That sounds like a brilliant idea. That sounds great. Just do your job and just do whatever. What if they told you to hook up a line to make sure that you're electrocuting people and you are killing people? What if they told you to do that? Are you going to do that too because you're just doing your job? Maybe grow a pair and show that you have some beliefs and some principles that you're willing to stand up for.
Well, his principles.
Convenience. I have to watch my game.
He has a principle. His principle is do whatever the nationalists tell you to do.
Yeah.
His principle is you got to worship the flag, or else somebody's going to cry. I mean, do you need a safe space?
It's so awful that these players would disrupt my Monday night sports ball.
Right. I mean, do you need a safe space from somebody taking a knee?
There are people from your state that have joined the U.S. military, and we had to when I was in, and they have to, anyone that is in now.
The U.S. military is a different organization than the NFL, right?
That is true.
Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. I mean, is he going to next advocate that the NFL get nationalized? Because then...
Well, no, I mean, he's an angry customer, and you're shaming him for expressing his opinion about a product.
No, he can express his opinion. That's fine. But, his opinion is that he wants these people's opinions to be controlled.
It's never been a better time for the
XFL product. Free Talk Live.
Young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed. But I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dog the chance at a new start with Dinovite. It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You dial toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. One of our newer sponsors is the Blink Home Security System. Super easy to get this thing set up. It really just takes minutes because there's no wiring involved with it. You just put some batteries in the units and you get them configured over your Wi-Fi, and it is super fast to get them rolling. And then they'll send you updates whenever something enters the room that they are watching over, and you can like customize when they're active and when they're not. You can get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge for 1 of those kind of cams. So head on over to blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. We're going to continue here. You, of course, can bring up anything you want. And then let's see, Lenore Skenazy over at Free Range Kids is going to look into the question of why are millennials so afraid of freedom. We read some of the quotes from students at University of Florida who are upset. They're worried and scared about what might happen with Richard Spencer coming to town on Thursday.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking a couple things. They're not really afraid of a couple thoughts were like flying through my head, which is 1, they're not really afraid of freedom. They're afraid of the state response is what's going to happen with this. But then
I don't know about that.
Then I kind of rethought it, and it's like, no, it's not really that they're afraid of the state response. Actually, what they're really afraid of is the violence that the Antifa are going to bring. Really is what it comes down to.
Well,
and then
but
the
remember,
response to the Antifa violence that's going to come, because the Antifa are going to come and get violent with the alt-righters because the Antifa people hate free speech, and then the alt-righters are going to get violent right back with the Antifa because they are just itching.
They're ready for a fight.
Yeah, they're itching for a fight. So,
but again, what I was bringing this up about was the statement from University of Florida freshman Tyler Thompson. He says it's a First Amendment right, obviously, but when that's going to put the student body in danger and possibly be harmful to us with protests and anger, I just don't think it's a good idea. So notice, he didn't say the fact that there's 500 cops going to be here is why he's afraid. Mm-hmm. He says the First Amendment right is going to put us in danger because of violence. And so that's what I'm talking about. He's afraid of the freedom of speech because he believes it will result in violence. So therefore, as long as there's a fear of violence, okay, government, come on in, bring in the shock troops. Let's go to Stompy on the line in, Louisiana. Stompy, you're on Free Talk Live.
I'm going to leave. My name is Jacksepticeye.
This is going to be good. Okay, Jacksepticeye. Now, isn't that a YouTube? Isn't that like a gamer guy on like a Twitch kind of gamer?
Yeah, I think he's Irish or something.
Stompy, what about it?
Well, I had a friend die today.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How did that happen?
Well, he had a party and well, it went ballistic crazy.
He had a party? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And it went crazy?
Yes.
Yeah, so how did he die?
He was shot.
Yeah, tell me more.
Sorry, I never realized.
Yeah,
he was
it's
shot
okay.
and then
It's okay. You didn't
I was
think
at a
through the obvious
funeral.
questions of what you might be asked when you called with a terrible crank call. Thanks for the call. Toll-free
Kids
number
these
here.
days, they don't know how to mess around with radio anymore.
No. Well,
or with
they've
shows
always
anymore.
been bad. I just like to say they've always been bad.
Some were really good, man, back in Blog Talk Radio. Some of those are the best. And then now you have, kids say, hi, and you repeat some stupid phrase from the internet. That's not funny.
It's been like this for a long time, though. I mean, generally, teenage boys, I'm sorry. Look, guys, you're just not as creative. You don't have the life experience.
You don't have the amazing wit of aliens. I like them.
To be Who was that? Was that one of the old callers from Free Talk Live way back in the day? Was
aliens,
that Sanjay?
I like them.
Who was that? Do you remember which one it was?
Sanjay, yeah.
Was it Sanjay?
Yeah, I think so. He had a bunch of different
But those guys were probably at least in their 20s, the guys, or 30s or whatever.
No, this kid sounds like 12 or something.
That's typical, yeah. I mean, look,
so not teenage.
Vincent,
I'm
I know
sure teenagers come with something
you're a
better.
pretty young guy. I mean, you're still in your teenage years. You're 19. We've been doing this show for like 15 years, so most of your life, actually. And teenage boys have historically been the worst prank callers. Now, most stations, would probably ban them and prohibit them from calling in. But every now and then they'll hit on a few cylinders and they'll come up with something creative and something pretty entertaining. But usually it's the every now and then there'll be like a group of them that'll call the show. Remember years ago there was IGN's Vestibule was calling. So there's this gaming website, IGN, and they had forums. They probably still do.
Oh, yeah, IGN forums. Yeah, we saw those.
And one of them was Vestibule, and somebody on there posted, hey, let's prank call this show, Free Talk Live. They're open phones, so they'll take our calls. And then they just called. This was like, I don't know, more than a decade ago. It was, I think, back when we were in Florida. And they just called in, and we actually researched on the air and found, did a Google search of posts within the last 24 hours with the words Free Talk Live in them, the phrase, and found their thread talking about the prank calls. So we were able to out them during the show on the air. And then we actually ended up having like a nice conversation with some of these prank callers. But the best ones from Vestibule were actually the females, interestingly, that were calling us. They were just more creative than the boys who were like, poop, saying dumb stuff like that. Typical teenage stuff. Anyway, toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Speaking of young people, Lenore Skenazy over at freerangekids.com writes about millennials being afraid of freedom. She says, an extremely insightful and rather frightening op-ed in yesterday's New York Times looks at why millennials are so, quote, wary of freedom, unquote. It's by Clay Rutledge, a professor of psychology at North Dakota State University, and it cites statistics about how the younger generation is less convinced that democracy or free speech are good ideas.
Well, wait, actually, before you go on with this, because you put this into terms of thinking about how kids are being raised. I mean, you put it in terms of thinking Lenore Skenazy, and you think, yeah, I mean, kids are being told they can't even go outside.
Right.
You think they're going to...
That's what she's going to get to.
Yeah,
here.
I'm sure. It's like...
It's this babying, this over-babying, this helicopter parenting, this constant floating of the parental and authority.
Oh, my God, the world's going to destroy me.
Schools are like prisons.
That's true as well. In fact, the school, I mean, that goes way back before recent times. The school I went to, an elementary school, was designed by the same architect as the jail in Sarasota,
Well, it's a
Florida.
self-fulfilling prophecy that these people are creating, too. They're creating this world where they're like, we need to be protected all the time.
Right.
But then the people that are protecting are the ones that are causing all the problems for the most part. It's the government that's, responsible for, 99% of the violence that's happening to people. And it generally is, because of state involvement.
Absolutely.
And things being brought down on people.
She says here, the logical question then becomes, what unites so many young Americans in these attitudes? I propose that the answer is fear, the ultimate enemy of freedom. Now, this is actually the quote from Clay Rutledge, who wrote or not wrote the piece, but was the professor in this case. She says, yep, another quote, parental culture in this country has become increasingly guarded and safety-focused, as illustrated by the rise of helicopter parenting. And we've been talking about helicopter parenting on this show since back in the day, since 15 years ago. I remember that concept from the mid-aughts, and certainly when we were growing up, we started to see the kind of the rounding off of the corners, the constant adding of bumpers or whatever,
right.
The having to have helmets and having to have
Bubble
knee
wrap.
pads and bubble wrap and all these safety things. More coming up here in moments. Let's talk more about it. You can share your thoughts at 855-450 free.
ProPure water filters, most trusted, most tested. Right now, you can save 25% on the ProPure Nomad Gravity System. Visit an authorized ProPure dealer for details. That's PROPUR.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective, and more affordable than you might think. Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. That's advertise.gcnlive.com.
In an emergency, you need a fire now. But what if the wood is wet? No problem for InstaFire. Our non-toxic fire starter packs lights wet wood, floats, and can even burn on water or in any weather. Sustains winds up to 30 miles per hour, and each pouch weighs only 1.75 ounces. Need an emergency or camp stove? Get the InstaFire Inferno stove that boils 20 ounces of water in under 3 minutes with controllable heat and temps from 425 to 1500 degrees. Free shipping. Go to instafire.com and use discount code RADIO30 up to 3 times for 30% off your order. InstaFire. Fire in an instant.
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Bring up anything you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, so feel free to Skype on in here. It's Skype username LRN.FM. Now, if you would like to try what might very well be the best pillow you've ever used or will ever use, you can go to mypillow.com and use code FTL to get your MyPillow. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using it for, I don't know, like a couple years now, year and a half, something like that, and it's been great. In fact, you can even wash and dry the MyPillow, which is amazing. That's something I've never seen in a pillow prior to the MyPillow. You go to mypillow.com, use code FTL. If you don't like it for some reason within the first 60 days, and that should be plenty of time to decide, you can send it back to them, and they will send you your purchase price back to you because they guarantee it. And if you keep the pillow, keep MyPillow, then it's guaranteed to last you for 10 years. So go to mypillow.com and use code FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts, more about millennials and their fear of freedom. But first, Christopher is in Winchester, Indiana, listening online. Hello, Christopher. You're on with Ian, Vincent, and Johnson.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, we're doing a radio show. What's on your mind tonight?
All right. I just wanted to, I don't know, I just recently started listening to you guys.
Welcome.
And liked stuff. Yeah, very, very cool.
How did you find the show,
much,
if you don't mind? How did you stumble across us?
93.1 in
Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis.
All right, excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, God, I'm spacing on the
you guys only it's awesome. So I've been listening on the computer since then.
Excellent.
But,
WIBC, that's what it is.
Yeah. So I've kind of got an issue going on here.
All right.
We for the last 10 months I've been fighting with my local city government.
That's always fun.
It's amazing. I've been politically active. You know, I'm only 30 up around politics and whatnot.
Okay.
I've been in law enforcement and so on and so forth. But for the last months, what I would consider as a major property rights issue. We have the city government who is in the process of trying to cram down the citizens' throats in a completely residential neighborhood, a drug rehab facility. And what it is to me it's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound because this program, first of all, the neighborhood I live in is on the National Register of Historic Places. The problem I have here is
hold on before you go on with your problem. Is this going to be a government-run facility, or are they just saying they're just giving approval to a privately run facility?
Yes and no. That's kind of what some of the biggest issues are. So what we have here is Winchester's a small community, under 5,000 people. We have a church in which the mayor used to attend, and he came up with this brilliant idea last year that the church has moved out of the building. So the mayor wants the city to buy this church building for $186,000 and then wants to get a loan that it's been alleged that he fraudulently applied for, and then do the renovation after the city buys the building, do the renovation, pay for all of this, which is going to be upwards of $1 million, and then turn it over to a organization who's going to run it and it's going to be ran off tax dollars because the Department of Child and Family Services are going to be the cities bought and paid for the renovations, and then the DCS in the state of Indiana will be paying for the operation cost of this facility.
What's DCS? What's that stand for?
Department of Child and Family Services. It's like who takes away your kids if you're beating them or whatever. You know what I mean?
And DCS is involved in drug rehab as well?
Well, because what's happening here is they're saying that it's such a drain on the foster care system because all these kids are being placed because their parents are on, or overdosing or on opiates.
So DCS is saying, well, now it's our new mission to assist with drug addicts, in theory, to reduce the number of them so they don't have as many people in foster care. Is that the claim?
Yes, but I guess the is it's not all drug addicts. The criteria for this is such a ridiculous. It's going to help such a small amount of people that the money doesn't make sense. Where they're putting it doesn't make sense. In order to get into this building, you can only be a woman. You cannot be a man. So if you're a man and you're a heroin addict or you're an opiate addict, you're out of luck.
Wow.
You can only be a woman. You can't be any woman. You have to be a woman who has 2 or less children or are pregnant. But you can't be a woman with 2 children that are 6 and above. They have to be 5 and under. So if you're a woman with 3 children, you're out of luck. If you're a woman with no children, you're out of luck.
This doesn't really sound like it's going to be very particularly helpful to many people.
Well, and yes and no. Here's what the major problem I'm having with it.
All right.
They're asking to put.
Hello.
Issue on this.
You cut out there for a second. Hold on. You cut out for a second.
Asking.
Sorry.
Means that's the people. There's less taxpayers than that, of course.
Christopher, I know we're having some trouble.
And this is going to
talking to you.
Operate for the entire 92 counties.
Oh no! I don't know what happened there. There's something going on with his line. I hope that we can hear back. It sounds like a boondoggle. I mean, basically, and I would have loved to have known what his real problem with it was. But I'm just on what he had said so far. It seems very problematic. I mean, it seems problematic in that you have the government creating a facility ostensibly to help drug addicts. That is only going to help one very specific subset of drug addicts. I mean, I understand the objection of, hey, we don't want this in our neighborhood. Totally get that. And so, there's an argument that the government shouldn't be in this particular area at all, let alone the Department of Children and Families or, whatever. So let's let the marketplace provide whatever, solutions there are. And I think there are some compassionate solutions. But when it comes to helping people with drug addiction, you can't expect the government to really bring forward the most compassionate solutions. It's just government isn't very good at compassion. They have one tool, and their tool is violence. They are a monopoly on violence, as Barack Obama had so honestly put it earlier in the last decade. And so, if we want to see people who have drug problems helped out, then let's get the government out of it, get the government out of the way. If it were a private agency, if it were a private organization, charity or something like that, who wanted to rent that building or buy it, then I would say, hey, great. Then it's none of anybody's business, really. If you don't want a drug facility coming into your neighborhood, then you buy the building. But when the government gets involved and, the mayor is saying, oh, hey, let's take government money, let's take taxpayer dollars, and then we're going to go and do this on behalf of these specific people who will benefit from it, then that's a problem because then you're going against the will of the people in that specific community. You're even more insultingly using their money. That caller who was upset about this, he's going to be forced to fund this very program that he objects strenuously to. And if he objects so strenuously that he decides to not give the government money, well, he said he was in law enforcement, so he must know that men like him will come to put a stop to it. They'll come with guns, and they'll make sure that you pay up, or they'll steal your house from you. And then they'll sell that house at an auction, and then they'll sell it to the highest bidder, and then they'll use that money for their dastardly purposes. So it's a shame. This isn't how people who have addictions should be helped. It should be something that's done in the marketplace. It should be something that allows the marketplace to operate, which means competitive, different types of courses. Because not everybody is interested in going to, let's say, Narcotics Anonymous. There are different ways to help people, and if we have government, then we have a one-size-fits-all solution. Or in this case, a one-size-fits certain women with a certain number of children solution. So it's crazy. The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got plenty of time for you if you want to join us here. More about millennials and fear of freedom. Plus, we got another crazy Florida story on the way, a couple of them, and you can take control of the airwaves here. 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, I would recommend Dynovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite. Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and join us on the radio waves. Take control of those airwaves at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can get signed up for our email newsletter. We send out, I think, usually once per week, but if there's something more important, we could always send another one if we need to. But you'll find out the latest about Free Talk Live if you're on that list, and you can get on it by going to freetalklive.com. And you can find the email sign-up box right there at the front and center of the website. So check it out at freetalklive.com. As we continue with your calls, your thoughts, we go to Skype, where Stefan is on in Ohio. Hello, Stefan.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
I had noticed there's a huge push from the Republicans in Congress lately for cutting taxes. Have you seen Trump's tax plan?
I don't know anything about it, so you'll have to fill me in. Vincent, have you seen it?
Not the recent one. I mean, the one from the election got butchered, so I don't know what the recent one looks like.
Basically, it reduces it down to 3 brackets and apparently adds a crap ton of deductions. So anybody making 40 grand or less per year pays pretty much nothing in taxes. And that sounds all fine and dandy. I mean, I'm sure you guys would all agree, get rid of taxes altogether, right?
Sure, but that's not going to happen at the federal government level.
But here's the thing. Even if we could do that, doesn't it seem kind of counterintuitive to cut taxes before we cut spending? Because then we'll basically be spending money.
Well, this is the old Republican method, right? I mean, this is the tried and true Republican strategy, is to claim to cut taxes and actually cut taxes, but to not cut spending at all. So therefore, the national debt continues to spiral out of control. And all the while, they get to pat themselves on the back and act like they did something. And then they can brag about that as they're getting, trying for their reelection campaigns. Oh, well, I voted to cut taxes.
And they're still printing money from the Federal Reserve, and it's still, ripping you off anyways, because they print money to pay off that debt. So either way, you still end up losing money.
Yep. All they got to do, though, is convince enough people that they've actually done something for them. And even if it's not true, even if all they're doing is mortgaging their own children's future or their grandchildren's future wages, they're willing to do it because the politicians, they don't have to pay the consequences. As long as, down the road, the consequences are going to come. But by that time, all these politicians are going to be sitting pretty in retirement.
Well, yeah. But don't you think it's kind of surprising that not a single person in the House or the Senate would try to propose an amendment to said bill to cut spending? Or do you think that they just don't care?
Where's Rand Paul on this?
Well, he had. I remember. Yeah, he was talking about getting a balanced budget, and obviously no one listened to him.
Who? Rand Paul?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is back when they were talking about the budget.
I would expect somebody like him to do it, considering I'm always hearing from everybody what a great libertarian he is.
It's ridiculous.
I thought that
he's not a libertarian. He even says he's not a libertarian.
Well, do you think that in the near future, a libertarian could possibly get in there to fix this kind of problem, or do you just have zero hopes for that?
The federal government? No. No, there's almost no chance that a libertarian's going to get elected.
Well, you're talking about two possibilities. One, that a libertarian's going to get elected, and two, if they do get elected, then are they going to be able to
actual libertarian?
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. Or if the libertarian actually could do any change in there, just being only one.
Just one person. I mean, we saw what Ron Paul did. I mean, he couldn't get anything done because he was one vote. He was Dr. No, and they called him that because he was frequently the only one who would vote against anything.
But at least he'd get the message out there.
That's true.
But do you think that maybe it would be a good idea to try to get some libertarians to run under the Republican Party to get in? I mean, it's kind of like what Austin Peterson's doing in Missouri right now. He kind of swallowed his pride.
He's not a libertarian.
What do you mean he's not a libertarian?
Are you really seriously? You don't know? Austin Peterson, he's one of the guys who ran for Libertarian Party's presidential nomination last year against our very own Daryl W. Perry. And Austin Peterson has actually come out and said, and he did this, I don't know, before the campaign, during the campaign, somewhere around that time frame, he actually said that he believes the Libertarian Party, which is the party of principle, supposedly. They actually, when you join the Libertarian Party, you're supposed to sign a statement that says, I don't support or advocate the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals. That's the non-aggression principle, the founding principle of the Libertarian Party. And this Peterson guy, he advocated for getting rid of the non-aggression principle.
Well, what about some of his other beliefs? You don't think
I don't care what his other beliefs are. I'm sure he sounds libertarian on things like the war on drugs or whatever, other issues he might sound libertarian on. But if you're advocating for the abolishment of the non-aggression principle, which is the founding bedrock principle on which basically every other libertarian viewpoint on politics is based, then you're not a libertarian. You are an enemy of the liberty movement if you are somebody who wants to throw out the non-aggression principle. And, he has now moved back into the Republican Party. So I wouldn't say he's a libertarian masquerading as a Republican. He was a Republican masquerading as a libertarian.
Well, so that means basically as long as you believe in the non-aggression principle, you're automatically a libertarian no matter what principles you hold beside that one?
I would say that is the basis of libertarianism, yes. Now, that doesn't mean that should be your only principle. I think that there are principles of like kindness and principles of generosity and principles of forgiveness and tolerance and understanding. I think all of these things are important, but those aren't the requirements of libertarianism. The only thing libertarianism requires is that you leave your peaceful neighbors alone. That's it.
Well, that's it. Well, that could be anybody then. That could be independents. That could be socialists. That could be.
Well, no, it couldn't, because all of those people want to aggress against other people. Socialists, unless they are somehow, the kind of commie that wants to leave others alone and is fine with just living on their own commune and not forcing everyone into it, they want to use the government to mold society in the way that they want. And so do Republicans, and so do Democrats, and you fill in the blank. Constitutionalists, these are all people that want to use the aggressive violence of the state to have people behave in a certain way.
All right, one last comment. I had seen the video you had put on Free Keen last year where you would ask Bill Weld if he believed in the non-aggression principle.
That's right.
Oh, I was there, yeah.
And he said he did agree with it.
Yeah, you shot that video.
And he said
he was the one who used the term bedrock principle. That's actually where I got that phrase from, because he was right about that. Unfortunately, that was the only time that he mentioned it during his entire campaign.
So do you think that makes him a libertarian? Because he believes in the non-aggression principle?
No, I don't think he believes in the non-aggression principle, because he wasn't advocating for it. He said it when I asked him that question because he's a slimy politician, and he doesn't want... politicians are the kind of creatures who they don't want you to hate them. They want you to like them. They want you to vote for them. They don't care after they get voted in what you think about them for the most part, until it's time to get reelected, in which case they try to remind you of all the things that they did that they think that you might like.
And let's not forget, I remember during the primary, Gary Johnson was asked about the non-aggression principle, and he said it sounds nice, but something along the lines, he couldn't get his head around it.
What?
Do you remember? Yeah. He never believed in it. He never believed in it. Did you seriously think for 1 minute that Gary Johnson actually believed in the non-aggression?
What is Aleppo?
Right.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't sure your reaction.
Non-aggression principle?
No. I'm not surprised that he would say something like that, but I just hadn't heard that. Statement.
Well, thanks for the perspective, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, Stefan. Thanks for your call tonight.
I mean, people can read, that article, the Austin Peterson article, where he says 5 reasons why I'm not an anarchist.
Oh, really?
To
Is this on his own
he's
website?
Not a libertarian either.
Yeah.
But there's some people who have done some things, sort of taking apart that article that he wrote about why he's not an anarchist.
Oh, I'm sure
and
they
also
have.
Just sort of saying like, yeah, this is also why he's not libertarian at all either. I mean,
right.
There are some very, weird arguments that he made in that article.
And Ian, I think not that I'm arguing with it, but your definition of what being a libertarian is certainly in a minority, because I see everywhere in comments and discussions that, being a libertarian isn't being an anarchist and X, Y, and Z. So there's a lot of people with a lot of different ideas of what it is.
Oh, I understand that. And I'm not saying that people can't have libertarian viewpoints on certain issues. They can agree with libertarians on certain things, but just because they agree with us on some things, whereas on other things they want to use the government and they want to use violence to achieve their goals, they are not libertarians in that way. You have to, and I understand there's the big tent libertarians who want to say, come on in, welcome. And I agree. I think the Libertarian Party should be big tent in that they welcome people who are new to the ideas of liberty, who might get it on like the war on drugs, and they might get it on taxes or whatever. There are issues where they get liberty. That's cool. They then need to be shown how to apply that principle of non-aggression across the board and what it means on every single issue to be truly in favor of freedom. Because until you're a true freedom advocate on every issue every time, you're not a true libertarian. I realize there's the no true Scotsman fallacy here, right? But toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE if you want to join us, 855-450-3733. Libertarian should mean something, and it does. Just because some people are trying to water it down, people like, the Gary Johnson campaign, etc. Hour 3's coming up. Join us.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.08 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,288 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,558. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon has reported that they have killed dozens of people in attacks on a pair of training camps in Yemen's Al-Baida province. Officials say drones were involved in the attacks, but did not specify if it was exclusively drone strikes. The Pentagon statements accused the Islamic State of running the training camp, saying they were training militants to use AK-47s and offering endurance training. There's no evidence who was killed, though the Pentagon naturally extended the Islamic State claim to say everyone killed was also a member of the Islamic State. The Pentagon said they believe the Islamic State is using ungoverned space in Yemen to plot attacks. Such a statement is commonly part of such attacks in countries the U.S. is not at war in, as a way of offering some legal justification for the strikes. But since the U.S. government never identifies its victims beyond assuming them all to be part of the targeted faction, and no one else in countries like Yemen are ever able to make such determinations either, everyone slain remains unidentified and civilian deaths go unreported. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday agreed to hear a privacy case pitting the U.S. government against Microsoft. The 9-member court agreed to take up the case next year whether Microsoft can be required to turn over emails at more than 100 data centers in 40 countries outside the United States. The case involves content of an MSN.com account the government said was used to conduct drug trafficking in 2013. The data was stored in Dublin, Ireland. Microsoft only turned over information they had stored in the United States and went to court. In 2014, U.S. District Judge Loretta Preska said the company had to hand over the emails, but last year the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in New York ruled in Microsoft's favor. The U.S. government was joined by 33 states in seeking Supreme Court review. At issue is the location of the search, at Redmond, Washington, where employees can call up the data, or where the content is stored. The company argues federal law does not extend to overseas seizure of data. Brad Smith, CEO of Microsoft and chief legal officer, wrote in a blog post that the current laws were written for the era of the floppy disk, not the world of the cloud, adding, "We believe that rather than arguing over an old law in court approved in 1986, it's time for Congress to act by passing new legislation." Smith said there were broader dimensions to the issue, adding, "If U.S. law enforcement can obtain the email of foreigners outside the United States, what's to stop the government of another country from getting your emails even though they are located in the United States? We believe that people's privacy rights should be protected by the laws of their own countries, and we believe that information stored in the cloud should have the same protection as paper stored in your desk." In its request for Supreme Court review, the Department of Justice said a ruling for Microsoft would cause immediate, grave, and ongoing harm to public safety, national security, and the enforcement of our laws. Mark Rush, a computer security expert and former DOJ prosecutor, told NBC News that users outside the United States would be discouraged from using American internet companies. He said this is a very big case that raises the largely unresolved issue of where things occur when they happen in cyberspace. We have a real world that has borders and national interest, and a virtual world that does not respect them. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The only nation where this regularly happens concludes that there's no way to prevent this. A college rape victim is pretty thrilled about recounting her assault to a faculty committee, and the nation's depressed individuals march on the Atlantic Ocean. This is the Onion Week in Review. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Eric Shinseki announced plans this week to improve healthcare for American veterans with a new $500 million state-of-the-art waiting room. The 150,000 square foot complex will reportedly feature a wide selection of magazines, 2 water coolers, and receptionists who will immediately give veterans vague answers about how long they can expect to sit there before receiving inadequate healthcare. And in this week's commentary, a local man finds owning a cat is a great way to meet women who magically appear in your living room. In other news, a new study finds employee morale drastically improves after watching a coworker throw a fit. A wise oracle proclaims to all at a barbecue that he felt a raindrop, and an elderly man is hailed as alert.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio waves here. Hour number 3, we're launching into it now. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, so feel free to Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Whatever you want to talk about goes. Here, we were talking about the response of some of the college students in Gainesville at the University of Florida they are scared about what might happen because a white nationalist scum is coming to speak to the campus. He paid $10,000 to rent some auditorium there, an 800-seat auditorium, and the campus is going to pay $500,000 for various different security. The governor of the state of Florida has issued a state of emergency about this and is bringing in police from all over the state to completely crack down on freedoms using the excuse of they're protecting free speech.
We're going to secure this event by paying $500.
$500,000 in this case. Let's go, though.
I'm just doing the Dr. Evil, like it's the ludicrous amounts of money that they are actually paying for these things.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go to Mike. He's in Louisiana. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Mike. Hello.
Hello.
Mike, you're on the air. That's brilliant. All right, toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE.
How long was he on
waited a
hold for
half
that one?
hour for that one.
Just to do
There you go.
It's important. Had to get that one out. All right, so yeah, we're talking about young people like that last caller that are feeling a little bit
scared. Clearly,
scared. They're frightened. Yeah, he's frightened.
You talked to him for just a second. He was terribly frightened.
He's pre-afraid already for the arrival of Richard Spencer at the college campus there in University of Florida. And Lenore Skenazy over at Free Range Kids is reviewing an op-ed from the New York Times asking the question of, well, why is it that these millennials and youngers are so wary of freedom, according to Clay Rutledge, professor of psychology at North Dakota State University. The statement from the article is that parental culture in this country has become increasingly guarded and safety-focused, as illustrated by the rise of helicopter parenting. The benefits of increased safety are many, but somewhere along the way, protecting children from needless harm became conflated with shielding them from stressors and uncertainties, such as having to solve everyday problems, like getting lost or being on one's own, that are critical for developing personal independence, unquote. Now, Skenazy at freerangekids.com comments, she says, of course, we never blame helicopter parents at Free Range Kids because even when parents want to let their kids walk home from school at, say, first grade, many schools won't allow it. And it's also possible the authorities could interpret that as neglect. So let's blame our culture, which insists that we helicopter and stunt our kids. But how has it managed to do that? Well, it's told us for the past 30 years or so that everything our kids do on their own is likely to end up killing them. Walk around the neighborhood? Death. Trick or treat? Death. Home alone? Death. Or if not death, our children will be hurt in such a way that they will never recover. Sleepover? They'll be molested. Play at the park? They may be flashed. Take the bus? They could be bullied. And on and on and on. The solution to a problem exaggerated beyond belief has been to never let kids do anything on their own. Who cares if they don't develop street smarts or resilience? They may be stunted, but at least they're safe. And now, at college, the cosseting culture continues. Quote from the New York Times, colleges and universities have exacerbated the problem of dependence by promoting what is sometimes called a culture of victimhood. American college students, of which Vincent is one of them right now, who are some of the safest and most privileged people on the planet, are to be protected from and encouraged to be ever vigilant about and even report any behavior that could cause emotional distress.
Clearly, all college students are part of the 1%.
Feelings and experiences that were once considered part of everyday life, such as being offended by someone's political views, are now more likely to be treated as detrimental to mental health, which is why they've created this whole safe space phenomenon. The idea that you shouldn't even have to be presented with an opposing viewpoint. If you're offended by those opposing viewpoints, you can just come over here into this padded room that we have and play with some building blocks or whatever the heck it is that they
Play-Doh.
Need to be in a microwave safe space.
No, you say Play-Doh. Do they actually have that? Is that a thing?
Some of the higher end ones, yeah.
Now, have you actually seen one of these safe spaces?
No, there's none in Keene that I'm aware of, aside from for some freshmen who are missing home, they have like dog therapy, so they bring puppies into the dorm and stuff.
That seems like a nice thing to do.
Yeah, so so they don't have any other equivalent.
I've seen that happen. I've gone out and done college outreach where I'll take like Cop Block Know Your Rights flyers out, and I'll take Jazzy the Studio Beast out with me, and she is it's totally like a therapy thing for the students because, who doesn't miss their animals when they leave home for the first time? And so I get that.
What happens if they accidentally put a free speech zone inside of a safe space?
That could
be universe implode.
Yeah, somebody will have a heart attack, apparently. Once again, the problem, says Skenazy, is underestimating young people. We think they can't handle a walk to the park, a taunt on the playground. Not persistent bullying, just a taunt. And when they get a little older, a visit to the campus by someone they disagree with. Quote from New York Times, there may be some benefits to an increased sensitivity to students' psychological vulnerabilities. Young people today face unique stressors, such as the ease of harassment presented by social media. But instead of helping, a culture of victimhood worsens the underlying problem. Indeed, despite growing up in a physically safer and kinder society than past generations did, young Americans today report higher levels of anxiety. So what's up with that? Are you an anxious person?
Oh, extremely. Vincent? Yeah. I had to seek treatment recently.
Why?
Well, because, one, there's the Federal Reserve printing money, and, we have a tyrannical government. So I'd say
those
I'm
are the
atypical.
things that make you anxious?
Yeah.
So you're not anxious about little things like, I don't know, going out and going to class.
Going to class, it's something I have to do. I want to get it over with. I mean, sometimes leaving the dorm, I'm like, oh God, there could be cops out here. There could be, weirdos walking around. So yeah, I am somewhat of a shut-in, but I think what most people stress out about is things like commitment and responsibilities. Like people who are afraid, like, oh, I can't get into adulting. I can't possibly balance a checkbook when it's just, addition, subtraction. I can't possibly pay my own rent and, X, Y, and Z. People need, and I know people who get depressed after college because they are so used to the whole, Prussian model of schooling that they can't survive outside of college in a real working world. They need the structure that school provides them. And it's really sad. It's really tragic.
Sad.
So would you say you go to bed on time?
No, man, I'm getting like 2. Last night I got like 3 hours of sleep. The day before 2. It's awful. I take like 12-hour naps. Oh no, it's not.
What are you getting at, Johnson?
Oh no, I read a lot of psychology blogs, and one of the primary causes of anxiety and anxiety disorders is lack of sleep and a lack of a regular sleep schedule. Especially those who stay up later at night and don't go to bed on time are like extremely. I don't know the exact statistics, but in the extreme, more likely to have developed anxiety problems and anxiety disorders.
So are you staying up because
you might
you're
want to
anxious?
consider getting more sleep?
Well,
is that easier said than done, though? I mean, do you have insomnia or something? Like, why aren't you getting sleep?
I'd say because of the work I have to do.
For college?
Yes.
There's that much of it?
There's a decent amount of it. Sometimes, at some points, it piles up. Other times, I have class, I'm exhausted, I sleep for a few hours, and I wake up, have dinner, then have to do work. But
how much time are you spending on Facebook?
Not much. As I said, I'm exhausted. I listen to the radio, lie down, sleep. I have many morning classes. All my classes are in the morning, though.
Is it possible that you're listening to Alex Jones and that could be causing anxiety?
For coming,
because there's always some sort of plot, some sort of dastardly.
No, not bad, because it gives me information, right? In the information war, so that I'm not bad. That's soothing, right? When Alex Jones was on vacation, I was
Jones
depressed.
Is soothing.
Yeah, when he was on vacation, I was depressed. I'm not getting my fix.
Oh, boy. All right, going on here. Skenazy says, they sure do. Huge Times article on anxiety yesterday, too. The answer is simple and hard. We have to give our kids back some unstructured, unsupervised time in which they deal with life's curveballs on their own, growing brave and confident in the process, and we have to make sure society accepts the fact that we refuse to keep helicoptering. Now, in truly dangerous neighborhoods, she says, we may have to give kids their independence indoors. They can make dinner, visit a neighbor in the building, babysit. But in neighborhoods where bullets aren't flying, it's time to get them back into the outside world. More coming up here. You can share your thoughts and bring up whatever's on your mind. 855-450, free like freedom. Are kids today too weak? It's Free Talk Live.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
When you read these books, you're going to hear me talk about what I call biostitutes. A biostitute may be a scientist. They will say anything that needs to be said for the right number of millions of dollars. And right now, that industry is just expanding, bigger than I've ever seen. I've been doing this for 35 years. So when you see my books, whether it's Law and Disorder, whether it's Law and Vengeance, the next one coming out is Law and Addiction. When you read those books, you'll really see me beating on these biostitutes because it is an industry that runs the risk of destroying everything we believe, and that is we believe that capitalism works fairly. When you put a biostitute in the process, it doesn't.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller Law and Disorder comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Do you ever say, I could care less, when you really mean the opposite? You mean to say, I couldn't care less. It's a common mistake. You are judged by how you speak, especially if you're looking for work, with so many more applicants than openings now. But even if you're not, avoiding common misstatements will help you make the most of the dozens of conversations and transactions that crowd your daily routine. So whatever you say, don't say whatever as a single-word sentence. It's the most annoying expression in the American English language, according to a recent poll. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. But seriously, at the end of the day, you'll want to avoid this scenario, sounding like everyone else. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are invited to join us on the radio waves. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733, and you can Skype in at Skype username lrn.fm. Tonight in the studio with you, you've got Ian.
You got Vincent.
And you've got Johnson.
We got another Florida story on the way here. It's actually an update on an older story about a man who had some Krispy Kreme glaze that Florida police thought was methamphetamine. Yeah, that's right. The donut glaze, Krispy Kreme donuts, apparently confused cops, and there's an update on that story. You're welcome to join us here and bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Now, if you are interested in saving big time on your purchases at Amazon, then you can go to saveitpurse.com to do that. Save AT Purse, saveitpurse.com. What you do is you load up your Amazon wish list and then you import that into saveitpurse.com. Select your discount. It can be up to 33% off. You choose the discount. The higher the percentage, the longer it might take to get your order fulfilled. But if you choose like 15%, usually you're going to get that order fulfilled the same day. So go to saveitpurse.com. The catch is, and there is a catch, is you have to use Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency in order to fund these purchases. That's how you get these amazing discounts. If you're using dollars, sorry, saveitpurse.com will not work for you. Saveatpurse.com. So if you needed a reason to get Bitcoin, how's 20% off at Amazon sound? That's a pretty darn good reason right there. Saveatpurse.com. Johnson, you have the story from Fox News about the latest
Florida man
from Florida. Go ahead.
But it's always, I don't know why they always do this in the news. Florida man.
Because it's a thing now.
I know, it's like so common.
Yeah.
Like Florida man. Florida man was arrested after police mistook Krispy Kreme glaze for meth. And he has now received a $37,500 settlement.
Not too shabby.
I believe that you guys originally covered this story when it had happened.
We did cover this at some point.
Yeah. A man who was arrested after police mistook the glaze on his Krispy Kreme donut for crystal meth has received a $37,500 settlement.
Now wait a minute, was the glaze actually on the donut? I thought that it was like the remnants that was like on the floor.
Yeah, it was on the remnant. Yeah.
Something like
Daniel Rushing, 64, sued the city of Orlando after he was arrested in December 2015 on drug charges. Law enforcement had spotted 4 small flakes of glaze
Gotta be kidding.
on his floorboard and thought that they were pieces of crystal methamphetamine. Rushing told the officers that they were likely bits of Krispy Kreme donut he'd eaten earlier, but he was arrested for possession of methamphetamine after 2 roadside drug tests tested positive for an illegal substance.
Wow, throw that crap out.
These Krispy Kreme donuts are so good they ought to be illegal.
Odd, I'm sure cops would know what
they'll get you going in the morning.
They couldn't just smell it,
yeah, I'm sure cops are familiar with that kind of donut.
Yeah, I'm sure that they are.
It's ridiculous.
This donut smells like something I've smelled many, many times before. Clearly, it must be crystal meth.
Is there more?
I couldn't believe it, Rushing told the Orlando Sentinel.
No kidding.
I've never even smoked a cigarette before, let alone meth.
Wow.
Weeks later, a state crime lab cleared Rushing of drug allegations, and charges against him were dropped. It took weeks and taxpayer dollars.
How long was he in jail
funding
for?
a drug lab. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it makes that clear there, but sometimes if you can't afford that bail, you're going to get held.
Yeah. And not to mention all the taxpayer dollars going to the testing of this ludicrous, stupid, just smell it, what was their roadside drug lab? A dumb dog? What's the,
I don't know.
2 tests.
Yeah, obviously.
Of the officer going, bark, come on, bark.
Whatever the test is, it's some sort of chemical test. It's a quickie version or something like that. Whatever it is.
They can't tell the difference between methamphetamine and donut glaze?
Insanely inaccurate.
Rushing told the Orlando Sentinel that he's been trying to open up a security business, but he can't because of his arrest record.
Wow.
I haven't been able to work, Rushing
Can't get a
said.
license.
People can't go online and see that you've been arrested.
Even though they dropped the charge, the arrest record's still there. So he hasn't had that, that hasn't been wiped off, and so therefore there's you got arrested. Well, wait, I didn't get convicted. Well, you got arrested.
He could get it expunged, couldn't he?
He's going to have to now.
I guess in theory, but you probably have to pay the state for that.
Yeah. Rushing, a retiree from Orlando Parks Department, so he worked for the Parks Department.
Government bureaucrat.
Received a check for $37,500 last week and told the Sentinel he's pleased with the outcome of the case.
Yeah.
Corporal Shelby Riggs Hopkins wrote in a December 11th arrest report that she noticed flakes on Rushing's floorboard. Oh, it doesn't say the flakes. She noticed flakes on the floorboard. The police department at the time said that the arrest was lawful and didn't explain why the glaze tested positive for methamphetamine in both field tests. Riggs Hopkins was given a written reprimand.
Because the field tests are garbage and they'll test everything positive.
Yeah. Riggs Hopkins was given a written reprimand for making an improper arrest, and the Orlando Police Department ended up training more than 730 officers on how to properly use field test kits.
Oh, that was the problem? Was that she didn't properly use the field test kit is what they're claiming?
Here's what you do. If you're using a field test kit, don't insert your own methamphetamine that you keep on hand to have false positives if you're not sure that the victim is just going to roll over and pay us. If you think that they might not pay us, don't do this. Even though we know you always keep this on you and you want to ensure that you can generate false positives on command. If you need a false positive on command, just use the dogs because they can't prove anything.
Right, that's a good point.
You know.
And toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom, $37,500. I guess if you're, I mean, again, we don't know how long he spent in jail. So if you're in jail for, or over a month, I mean, that's still kind of an insult. If it was just a day and he got bailed out, then $37,000 is pretty good for one day and having to go through a trial. But I don't know. We don't know how long he was held for. Is there more to the story? Or is that
There's not. We don't know.
If you want to join us, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. How about this? How about you leave people alone? There's an idea. Did he do anything violent? No. He said he hasn't even smoked a cigarette in his entire life.
Right.
And yet you've got cops pawing through your floorboards trying to find a white fleck, or a white speck that they can charge you with. My God, he's got something that's small and white, and it's tiny and crushable, and so therefore he could have put this up his nose. And I'm sorry, I just don't care. I can't imagine why people are so concerned about this stuff. These cops do they really believe they're going to stop methamphetamine if they arrest one more guy in his truck or whatever? Because he's got something on the floorboards, that this is going to stop the insanity of this insane war on drugs, that's somehow going to put an end to people using drugs. I mean, how delirious do these police have to be to truly still believe in the war on drugs that they perpetrate? How many of them actually believe in it as they're engaging in this war?
Apparently he was also strip searched.
My goodness.
I was looking for more details, and I found that's what I found so far, is that he was also additionally strip searched when they found the flakes.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Hope he didn't have any dandruff, too. I mean, there's some white flakes.
855 cereal had corn flakes. They have glaze on them.
450
probably be tested positive, too.
3733. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls are welcome.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is what petty bureaucrats do. They protect their turf. And if you can tell me the operable difference between governments, city, state, federal, whatever they might be, and the most successful gang in a given area, I'd love to hear the difference. I just don't know what the difference is. Yes, government has a funny way of appointing its dons.
Elections.
But that's really it. That's all I can come up with. It's a gang that's figured out, hey, if we let people participate, if they have a vote, that is statistically an insignificant fact that they have a vote, but we let them have one, then they'll feel like they're part of us, and then they can do whatever they want.
they cannot pave a road for 43 years and then have everybody claim that without the government we wouldn't be able to pave roads.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial on in toll free and join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
And it's Johnson.
Let's talk about nutritional supplements for a moment. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement, and for good reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you visit a naturopath, you'd likely be told a cheap vitamin mineral supplement doesn't cut it. You'll also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. And by the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of product and spending $150 a month. And if this is a situation you've experienced, then you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys won't: the perfect blend of 7 supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. So visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more and use coupon code FTL. That'll get you 10% off of your order every time you order. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back, and they take Bitcoin. So go to simplifymysupplements.com. Is my understanding, if you want to pay with Bitcoin, you do have to shoot them an email first, and then they'll help you out. Simplifymysupplements.com, code FTL gets you the 10% off. And if you're shooting them the email about Bitcoin, make sure you mention the code in the email so you get the discount on your Bitcoin purchase. I
found more details about Daniel Rushing.
This is the guy who was arrested and then given $37,500 because the police found Krispy Kreme donut sugar on his car, his car somewhere, and thought it was meth.
Yep. So he was booked into the county jail, strip search, and he had to post $2,500 in bail, and he spent 10 hours in jail before being released.
Okay, so 35 grand for 10 hours in jail, and the inconvenience there, I'd say he did all right.
Yeah.
So was there more too about what he is? Didn't you say he was suing the company?
He's also suing Safariland, which is the company that made the tests
the inaccurate tests.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, I wish him the best on that.
Yeah.
Screw those people.
Yeah.
Those people are part of the war on drugs. They're one of the corporate arms of the war on drugs. They're profiting from people's misery. Yeah. Those companies, they exist to destroy people's lives, as far as I'm concerned. Now, it's one thing if you're getting a drug test on, let's say you're a forklift driver in a factory and you screw something up and you drive a forklift through a door or something like that, and you cause some damage. And then in that case, the company needs to make sure that you are not on drugs because, well, there's liability issues there, and they don't want people driving around forklifts if they're high on something, right? So that I understand in that circumstance. But most of the time, these drug tests are being used against peaceful people, and I don't think a field test is something at all that you're going to see used in the workplace. That's a workplace drug test. They send you out to have your urine or blood examined. It's not like they're testing an actual alleged drug that they find on you. So these drug tests that the cops are using by this company, Safarland or whoever they are, these are purely used for law enforcement purposes, purely used to destroy people's lives, like this guy who, was again arrested, held, strip searched, which is pretty common when you get put into a jail, and treated poorly. And he'd never even smoked a cigarette. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. You can bring up what you want. It's Sarah, of course, in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yeah, so I'm really impressed, and I just wanted to commend Mark. I did talk to him last night about his the super sensor auto stop cars that he bought, and the reason I'm bringing it up because I just want us to follow his example. I'm hoping that if all of us spent the extra money to buy these cars, that would send a statement.
Well, that's awfully nice of you to invite everybody else out there who drives, because you don't, but invite everybody out there who drives to spend a whole lot of money on some new fancy features in cars that may indeed make driving safer. I mean, I'm not going to deny that it sounds like this is probably something that could be helpful for a lot of people. The thing that Mark got, he got a new Honda Civic, and I guess newish, 2016. So technically it was new, but it's a couple years old. But he got a Honda Civic, which has some kind of feature that will, I don't know if it's on all the time or if it's one of those things you can toggle, but where if you're getting too close to the rear end of another car, your car will slow itself down. So it's using radar to balance and get the distance of whatever it is that's in front of you, and if that distance shortens to a certain length, then it will automatically apply the brakes. And that seems to be a sensible feature. I suspect there are some circumstances in which it may be a little janky. It's kind of probably still a new technology. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I haven't actually tested it.
I have a forward collision warning system on my vehicle that occasionally misfires.
So will it misfire like while you're in the middle of the interstate or something? Like what's the situation under which?
Rarely. I've had overpasses sometimes. I've set it off.
Really?
Yeah.
So the signal is shooting up that high to where it could bounce off an overpass?
I guess, or something. I don't know exactly what's caused it, but I've also just had it just randomly in the road, like even with no oncoming cars.
See, that creeps. That's scary because, like, if you're going down the interstate, you're shooting under an overpass, and then all of a sudden your early warning system thinks that you're getting up behind a car, and the car puts the brakes on. The guy behind you, if he's tailgating you or whatever, or is too close, as some people will do, he may not be able to respond fast enough because what if his car's not one of these things? Which I guess what Sarah's saying is everybody, if they go out and buy these cars, then if all the cars on the road have similar technology, maybe they will work better together and cause fewer accidents. Is that kind of where you're coming from, Sarah?
Well, yeah. The market is the demand. If there's a demand, they'll create it, and then the cost will go down. So right now, it's like
you are absolutely right about that, Sarah. I just want to say it warms my heart to hear you say things like that, because normally you talk about how you're a communist, but in this case, it sounds like you really understand what, at least in that little bit, that what the market does is a good thing.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. I don't.
Do you remember the old communist cars from communist Russia?
I have no idea. I don't know.
You ought to look at, well, if you had
the U.S. is a decent vehicle. It was made for military, but it's cheap.
What was it called? The U.S.
UAZ.
Oh, UAZ.
And they're pretty affordable in like Eastern Europe, and the U.S. won't let them import it. Right? It'd be a perfect car. It's like they have off-road vehicles. A good new modern off-road vehicle for $9,000. That's made now in the $9,000 U.S. It's made in the Russian Federation, but the U.S. won't let them import it because of protectionism and something called safety and environmental concerns.
Well, do you buy all that, or it's just it's a form of sanction? It's one more form of sanction, because if we bought those, then Russian economy would improve. Because but it's a good product, but it's like a sanction against North Korea, Iraq, Cuba, and Russia. They're going to do sanctions. So that's the way I look at it. And then they blame the communist system for failing. But yeah, but anyways, I just want to bring up that hopefully with these automated cars that it will become a standard feature. You know what I mean? I want it in all the cars where I want the government to step in and say all of the cars are going to have this, not just people with money. So eventually that's where I'm coming to. But
eventually the government will own all the vehicles. So
that's a scary idea.
And they could even now with these computers, they could hack into these vehicles.
It will be illegal to own a car.
Well, remember again, I brought up the question of these Soviet vehicles from back in the day of the Soviet Union, where basically you had the government in their government cars, essentially, that they authorized, and only some people were allowed to get, or it was very, very difficult to acquire them, and why you would want one anyway, because they were just a garbage heap. And the reason why is, of course, there was no competition. And so it's interesting hearing you, Sarah, say on one hand that you can see the benefits of competition, that you can see that the competition brings safety to the marketplace and that it can lower prices and increase customer service. But yet on the other hand, you frequently have called for communism on the show. You've called yourself a communist. And under communism, you don't have that. You don't have that competition that drives everyone to be better. You just have one size fits all. And if it's broke, well, sorry. It's not like you can go to the guy down the street and get his product because he's not there. Competition's been outlawed. Sarah, thanks for the call. There's more coming up here, and you can join us. 855-450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have at work today. This is
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait
on account. Now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What am I being detained for? You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Oh, man. I wish we had time to read this story here about the Russian cars, or the Soviet commie cars, the VAZ, or GAZ. Apparently, they even had different models of it. I'll just give you a couple of excerpts here. In the Soviet era, the average waiting line for a car was, go ahead, guess. How long did you have to wait?
10 years.
Yeah. 7 to 10 years. to get your car, if you could even get qualified to get the car, which on its own was its own challenge. Interesting article at jalopnik.com about this, what it was like to buy and own a car in the Soviet Union. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Quote, at your chainsaw factory job, you were one of 300 workers. Most of them didn't have a car and were eager to get one. Let's say that the trade union designated 5 cars per year for your company. That's not to say that all companies would get 5 cars per year. That's just an estimate based solely on information conducted during interviews. The number of cars allocated would differ through the years depending on the industry, company size, and the region of the Soviet Union. If anything, 5 cars per year is an overly optimistic estimation, according to some of those who reviewed the article. And so basically, it's all a complete favoritism game as to whether or not you would get one of these cars. They might... if you were the chainsaw factory person, for instance, they might you have to go to your employer, the trade union office, submit a written request stating that your lust for a personal automobile was out of control. Your request then got processed, and by processed, the article says, I mean that a background check on you is made. How many chains did you manage to sharpen last year? Have you tried your best? Have you participated in pioneer activities during school years? Do you know the basic values of communism? Have you attended the last chainsaw factory workers' disco at the canteen? After a year or so, you would find out whether the request was approved or not. The first in line for their cars, the VAZ, ZAZ, or GAZ, were those who passed their background checks with flying colors. These would be the most productive, skilled, or otherwise distinguished employees. You know, employee of the month types. Of course, having Communist Party membership didn't hurt either. Anyway, if you were an average worker, the chances that your car was going to arrive the year you ordered it was close to non-existent. The same went for the next year and for the next one. And then they say, again, the wait was 7 to 10 years or more. As you might expect, the density of vehicle ownership compared to the total population was vastly lower in the USSR versus the United States. Only about 45 cars per 1,000 people by the year 1985. And I'd be interested to see the comparison to the United States. How many cars per 1,000 people?
Right.
They don't mention that, but I suspect it was much, much higher. And it wasn't thanks to, or don't be fooled, it wasn't thanks to the anti-commercialism nor some aspiration to save non-renewable resources. It was simply a scarcity of human and material resources combined with the worst possible management ever. And, of course, that's communism for you. And the reason why the management was so bad is because they had no competition. It's not like the people in Russia or the Soviet Union at the time could go next door to, or go over to Germany and buy themselves a German automobile. It wasn't like they could just go and import a car from all of the other car manufacturers.
Unless, of course, you were getting it from East Germany, which was also communist at the time.
Which, again, I don't suppose there were very many options in East Germany, right?
Well, I mean, I was pulling up just to see if I could find some great liners from the script here of the Top Gear episode about communist cars.
Oh, you said there was a hilarious episode.
Yeah, season 12, episode 6. And so there's like a little excerpt here that says, you might say that we're wrong to blame communism for these truly terrible cars. But you might say that it's just a Russian problem. Well, Mr. Scargill, a quick canter through some other Eastern Bloc cars will prove you wrong. Take this, the Wartburg from East Germany. When they made a rally version of this, they had to fit uprated brakes, which they got from the Austin Maxi. How bad do the standard brakes have to be for Maxis to be better? And then there was the equally East German Trabant, which was made
I've
from,
heard of that one.
And I'm not making this up, cotton. Mr. Khrushchev once said, we will bury you. What with? This. It's actually made from leather. I think it looks like somebody's crashed motorcycle into the back of a cow. And then from Poland, there's the FSO pickup. And, of course, we would know a thing or two on Top Gear about how to test such things. This Free World Toyota, for example, we dropped it from a 23-story tower block. And it worked afterwards.
My God.
So surely the rugged FSO from the world's best plumbers could survive this. It didn't. And maybe we should try dropping it from a slightly lower height. It's a bit late now, isn't it?
Oh, I can only imagine what it looked like. Oh, man, I might have to check that one out later. That sounds really hilarious. Let's go to Patrick. He's in Bullhead City, Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Hello, Patrick.
Well, I loved your story about the donut crumb, but I got one that actually happened to me.
You're a cop, by the way, for those that don't know. Go ahead.
Well, occasionally we have to go through vehicle searches, and they check us just like anybody else,
But
so
do you think
vehicle,
wouldn't an officer be able to recognize donut glaze?
I would say he is not an officer if he doesn't recognize donut.
Now wait a minute. Who's going through your vehicle?
Let me finish.
But wait. Before you finish, who's going through your vehicle? What do you say? They check their own guys?
Well, they have a tactical group that is part of internal
investigations.
Goes through vehicles. Yeah, it's like it's a CERT sort of group that goes through it, but. Anyway, my wife went out and she got me some testers, perfume or cologne testers.
Okay.
Because she wanted to know what I like. So I didn't think anything. I left them in my vehicle. Well, I get searched, and all of a sudden, this young kid, man, gung ho. Like I've been telling you, some of these youngsters shouldn't be in the police department. Mm-hmm. Comes out and he goes, "Oh my God, this guy's making crack pipes." Drug pipes, and he brings it out and they're making a big fuss, so they send me down to do a UA or a drug test, drug screening, and everything else. I'm looking at the old timers. I'm going, really? You guys come to my wife's work all the time, and you get these testers? Or my wife does. She was in the cosmetic business for a long time.
Okay.
So I'm laughing about this stuff. So I go down, spent 2 days waiting to get the results. So I'm on administrative leave and all this stuff. And I come back. But the ironic thing is this guy pulled over somebody for a warrant. And he was a real gung-ho cop. And he didn't properly, when he put the guy in, he didn't really search him. So the guy I guess he had some drugs on him. And he got him out of the back of his pocket, and he kicked him underneath that police officer's back of his seat because they didn't have the full bridge there.
Okay.
Well, about about a week later, all of a sudden, the drug dogs are out there walking. They're walking the drug dogs to the car, and the dog gets a major hit on his police car.
Wow.
Well, let's say that officer is no longer an officer.
Really?
Everybody to this day is laughing because this guy was after everybody, and I can't.
So you're saying this cop got his just desserts?
Oh yeah, big time. It was hilarious. I mean, we were like, it's sad. It's somewhat sad to see when anybody loses their job or anything. But in particular cases, like I've told you, a dirty cop is a dirty cop, or somebody shouldn't be a cop, But it was hilarious because he found a whole baggie of drugs underneath his seat. And this guy's its regular patrol car. So he didn't have a real story to do it. But, I mean, there was like 5 of us that ended up going and getting drug tested that day because of these gung-ho police officers out there searching our cars. Nobody tested positive. I mean, would I really, I wouldn't put a person's life in jeopardy.
That's interesting. I got to say, I've learned something here, that the police search their own people, search their own cars. That's just sick. It's disturbing.
It's just, it's just the fact that, it's really, it's changed, guys. It's changed.
Policing, you're saying policing has changed, and it's for the worse.
Yeah, everybody's pointing the finger at everybody, and nobody is, focused on what really needs to do, and that's to protect the public, I've told you guys, stories before, but, it's really getting out of hand out there. And, the one thing is that the guy, I'll tell you, the worst case scenario I've ever seen when we pulled over somebody who was high on marijuana is he has the munchies.
There you go. Patrick, we're out of time. Thanks for your call tonight.
God
I appreciate
bless,
the compassion. I appreciate the expertise. We're out of time for tonight.
Right,
we'll see you tomorrow online in the meantime. freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.08 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,288 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $5,558. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon has reported that they have killed dozens of people in attacks on a pair of training camps in Yemen's Al-Baida province. Officials say drones were involved in the attacks but did not specify if it was exclusively drone strikes. The Pentagon statements accused the Islamic State of running the training camp, saying they were training militants to use AK-47s and offering endurance training. There's no evidence who was killed, though the Pentagon naturally extended the Islamic State claim to say everyone killed was also a member of the Islamic State. The Pentagon said they believe the Islamic State is using ungoverned space in Yemen to plot attacks. Such a statement is commonly part of such attacks in countries the U.S. is not at war in, as a way of offering some legal justification for the strikes. But since the U.S. government never identifies its victims beyond assuming them all to be part of the targeted faction, and no one else in countries like Yemen are ever able to make such determinations either, everyone slain remains unidentified and civilian deaths go unreported. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-97